Have you ever dreamed of exploring UNESCO sites around the world, but found it too challenging or costly to visit them all? In this documentary, you'll get to do exactly that. Travel to some of the most amazing places on Earth without leaving the warmth of your home. Whether it's the thrill of exploration, the beauty of the unknown, or a desire to escape the ordinary, this journey will not disappoint. Samarkand, Uzbekistan. At the heart of the ancient Silk Road, Samarkand reached its golden age under Timur in the 14th century. The Registan Square dominates the city with three massive madrasas, their facades covered in intricate blue tile mosaics. Each tile was hand-cut and fitted to create complex geometric patterns. The Bibi Khana Mosque, built by Timur for his favorite wife, was once one of the Islamic world's largest. Its massive blue dome draws inspiration from the desert sky. The Shah Itza complex contains a stunning series of ceramic tiled mausoleums. Inside, the walls shimmer with gold leaf and precious stones. The Observatory of Ulugh Beg housed the world's largest sextant, used to create the most accurate star charts of its time. Wadi Rum, Jordan. Rising from Jordan's desert floor, this vast wilderness stretches over 280 square miles of dramatic landscapes. The region's distinctive red rose color comes from iron oxide in the sandstone rock formations. Wind and time have sculpted towering cliffs, natural arches, and narrow canyons known as sikhs. The desert floor consists of soft red sand, punctuated by massive rock bridges that span between cliffs. Ancient civilizations left their mark here. Petroglyphs and temple ruins of the Nabateans still remain, some dating back over 12,000 years. Lawrence of Arabia made this place famous during World War I, using it as his base during the Arab Revolt. The extreme temperature variations between day and night have contributed to the weathering of the rocks. Despite its harsh environment, the desert supports a variety of wildlife, including the rare Arabian oryx. Bedouin tribes still maintain their traditional lifestyle here, offering visitors authentic experiences in desert camps beneath star-filled skies. Serra de Capivara National Park, Brazil. Deep in Brazil's northeast lies a remarkable open-air gallery of prehistoric art. The park's red sandstone walls display over 30,000 rock paintings, some dating back 25,000 years. These artworks show hunting scenes, social gatherings, and mysterious geometric patterns created by early human inhabitants. The paintings appear in rock shelters and caves, formed by erosion over millions of years. Scientists found evidence here that humans lived in South America far earlier than previously thought. The park's fossils include giant prehistoric armadillos and sloths from the Pleistocene period. Today, the rugged landscape supports unique species adapted to the semi-arid climate. Rare birds, like the tiny blue-winged macaw, make their home in the rocky cliffs. The park's archaeological discoveries challenged theories about when humans first arrived in the Americas. Ayutthaya, Thailand. Once the capital of Siam, Ayutthaya dominated Southeast Asian trade for over 400 years. The city was built on an artificial island, created by connecting three rivers, the Chao Phraya, Lopburi, and Pa Sak. At its peak in the 1700s, it was one of the world's largest cities with 1 million inhabitants. The city's architecture blended Thai, Chinese, and European styles, reflecting its role as a major trading hub. Merchants from as far as France, Portugal, and Japan established quarters here. The most distinctive structures are the prangs, tall spired towers representing Mount Meru in Buddhist cosmology. In 1767, Burmese armies sacked the city, burning its wooden buildings and melting gold from the temples. Today, the ruins reveal the city's former grandeur. The remaining red brick temples, Buddha statues, and palace foundations stand as testament to Ayutthaya's golden age. Gjirokastra, Albania. Perched on a steep hillside, this city of stone earned its nickname from the distinctive slate-roofed houses that cascade down the slopes. The Ottoman-era mansions, built by wealthy merchants in the 18th and 19th centuries, feature unique defensive towers and fortified architecture. At the city's peak stands a massive castle, originally constructed in the 12th century. These fortress houses share a distinctive layout: ground floors of stone for livestock, upper floors for families, and space between walls for food storage. During communist rule, Gjirokastra served as a museum city, helping preserve its medieval character. The slate used in construction comes from local quarries, giving the buildings their characteristic silver-gray color. Each house seems to grow from the hill itself, connected by ancient cobblestone streets that wind between them. Alhambra, Spain. Rising from Spain's southern plains, this palace-fortress complex embodies the pinnacle of Islamic architecture in Europe. The name means "the red one," due to its reddish walls, made from local clay and stone. Construction began in the 13th century under Nasrid rule, creating an intricate blend of Islamic art and Spanish influences. The complex features mathematically precise courtyards, where water channels and fountains create natural air conditioning. Inside, the walls showcase masterful Arabic calligraphy and geometric patterns. The Court of the Lions displays an innovative water system, a fountain supported by 12 marble lions that once rotated to mark the hours. The hall ceilings feature intricate honeycomb vaulting called muqarnas. Gardens of the Generalife, designed as a summer retreat, demonstrate Islamic concepts of paradise with flowing water and aromatic plants. After the Christian conquest in 1492, parts were modified to accommodate Spanish royalty, adding Renaissance elements to the Islamic design. Sundarbans National Park, India. The world's largest mangrove forest stretches across India and Bangladesh's coastline. This vast swamp creates a natural barrier against cyclones and storm surges from the Bay of Bengal. The mangroves have adapted to survive in brackish water, developing complex root systems that rise above the mud like wooden scaffolding. These roots trap sediment, gradually building new land. Tigers have adapted to swimming in the channels between islands, making this the largest population of wild tigers in a mangrove habitat. The waters teem with crocodiles, dolphins, and over 260 bird species. During high tide, the forest seems to float on water. At low tide, the exposed mudflats reveal countless small creatures, fiddler crabs, mud skippers, and mollusks. The honey collectors, known as moalis, brave the dangers of tigers and bees to gather wild honey from the forest. Pompeii, Italy. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD transformed this Roman city into a time capsule. Volcanic ash and pumice buried Pompeii under 20 feet of deposits, preserving everyday life in remarkable detail. The disaster occurred so quickly that people were frozen in their final moments. The hollows left by decomposed bodies were filled with plaster, creating haunting casts of the victims. Streets still show chariot wheel ruts in the stone. The houses of wealthy citizens retain their colorful frescoes depicting mythological scenes. Public spaces like the Forum and Amphitheater reveal the city's social life. Archaeologists found loaves of bread in ovens, preserved graffiti on walls, and even election slogans. Recent excavations continue to uncover new treasures, including intact rooms with elaborate decorations. The site provides unprecedented insight into daily life in the Roman Empire. Kakadu National Park, Australia. Stretching across Australia's Northern Territory, Kakadu represents 40,000 years of Aboriginal history. The park's rock art galleries contain over 5,000 sites, documenting the world's longest continuous culture. Seasonal flooding transforms the landscape. During the wet season, vast floodplains become inland seas. These wetlands support massive populations of water birds and saltwater crocodiles. The sandstone escarpments rise dramatically from the plains, their weathered faces creating natural galleries for Aboriginal art. The paintings show extinct animals, like the Tasmanian tiger, providing a record of environmental change. Traditional owners continue to live here, maintaining their connection to the land through ceremonies and traditional hunting. The park experiences 6 distinct seasons according to Aboriginal calendar, each marked by its specific changes in wildlife and plant life. Hampi, India. The ruins of the 14th century Vijayanagara Empire spread across a dramatic landscape of granite boulders. The city's design blended natural rock formations with architectural elements, creating monumental structures. The Vittala Temple showcases engineering mastery, with its musical pillars that produce different notes when struck. The Virupaksha Temple remains active since the 7th century, its towering gopuram visible across the site. Massive stone blocks form structures without mortar, precisely cut to interlock. The royal enclosure contains remnants of the empire's sophisticated water systems, including aqueducts and stepped tanks. Giant boulders balance precariously throughout the site, some carved into temples or fortifications. Market streets still display grooves where merchants once measured goods. The city's fall in 1565 was sudden and violent, when rival sultanates sacked the capital, leaving behind a frozen moment of destruction. Petra, Jordan. Carved into rose-red cliffs, this ancient Nabatean capital controlled vital trade routes through the desert. The iconic Treasury Building stands 130 feet high. Its classical facade concealing rooms cut deep into the rock. The city's water conduit system channeled flash floods into cisterns, supporting a population of 30,000 in this arid region. The Nabateans carved over 800 monuments and 500 tombs into the rock walls. The theater could hold 8,500 spectators, its seats carved directly from the mountainside. Narrow canyons, like the Sikh, provided natural defense, while also creating dramatic entrances to the city. The rocks display natural bands of color, from deep red to pale pink, caused by different mineral concentrations. Recent excavations revealed sophisticated gardens with an artificial oasis. The site remained lost to the Western world until 1812, when Swiss explorer Johann Burckhardt disguised himself as an Arab pilgrim to access the Forbidden City. Luang Prabang, Laos. Nestled at the confluence of the Mekong and Nam Khan rivers, this former royal capital blends French colonial architecture with traditional Laotian temples. Golden-roofed Buddhist temples house rare bronze Buddha statues. Every morning, hundreds of monks in saffron robes walk through streets collecting alms, a tradition dating back centuries. The former royal palace now serves as a museum, displaying the crown jewels and royal artifacts. Traditional wooden houses on stilts stand alongside French-style villas with shuttered windows. Mount Fuji rises from the city center, topped by a gilded stupa visible for miles. The night market spreads along the main street, where hill tribe traders sell traditional textiles and crafts. During the French colonial period, European-style buildings were constructed alongside ancient temples, creating the city's unique architectural fusion. Tsingy de Bemaraha National Park, Madagascar. In Madagascar's western region stands a fortress of razor-sharp limestone needles. The Tsingy Formation began 200 million years ago, when layers of calcite accumulated at the bottom of a lagoon. Groundwater gradually dissolved the limestone, creating deep crevices and caves. Today, these stone forests reach heights of 230 feet. The limestone pinnacles are so sharp, they can slice through equipment and skin. The word Tsingy in Malagasy means where one cannot walk barefoot. Between the stone blades, patches of dry deciduous forest provide refuge for rare species. The park hosts 11 species of lemurs, including the endangered Deccan's sifaka. Scientists believe many uncovered species exist in virtually impenetrable areas. Below ground, an extensive network of caves harbors underground rivers and unique blind fish. During the rainy season, these rivers swell, continuing to carve the limestone. Amphitheater of El Jem, Tunisia. Standing in the heart of Tunisia, this colossal Roman amphitheater rivals the size of Rome's Colosseum. Built in the 3rd century AD, its massive stone blocks were carried from nearby quarries without mortar. The structure rises 100 feet across 3 levels of arches. Unlike many Roman monuments, El Jem survived largely intact because it was far from urban development. The amphitheater could hold 35,000 spectators, serving a city of only 30,000. During the Arab conquest, it functioned as a fortress. Local inhabitants used it for protection well into the 17th century. its acoustics remain remarkable. A whisper at the arena floor can be heard in the upper tiers. Underground passages and chambers that once held gladiators and wild animals are still accessible. Český Krumlov, Czech Republic. Built in a curve of the Tava River, this 13th century town appears frozen in medieval times. The castle complex dominates from a rocky promontory, featuring elements from Gothic to Baroque periods. The town's layout follows the river's natural meander, with narrow cobblestone streets winding between Renaissance and Baroque houses. The castle's tower, painted with elaborate Renaissance frescoes, offers views across red-tiled roofs. A unique Baroque theater survives, complete with original stage machinery, costumes, and props from the 18th century. The buildings display distinctive sgraffito decoration, patterns scratched through layers of colored plaster. During communist rule, the town fell into disrepair, but extensive restoration has returned its medieval character. The Tava River played a crucial role in the town's history, powering mills and transporting timber. Carcassonne, France. Rising from a hilltop in southern France, this medieval city is the largest complete fortress in Europe. Two massive walls, with 53 towers, create an impregnable defense system. The inner wall dates from Roman times, while the outer was built in the 13th century. Between these rings lies the lists, a space designed for military exercises and markets. The castle features unique defensive elements like murder holes and projecting ramparts. During restoration in the 1800s, architect Viollet-le-Duc added the distinctive slate blue cones to the towers. The ancient city within the walls preserves its medieval street pattern. Saint Nazaire Basilica combines Romanesque and Gothic styles with exceptional stained glass windows. Today, 50 people still live within the ancient city walls. The old city of Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. The iconic Old Bridge spans the emerald waters of the Neretva River, connecting two halves of this historic city. Built in 1566 during Ottoman rule, the original bridge stood for 427 years before its destruction in 1993 during the Bosnian War. The rebuilt bridge maintains the original design, a single arch rising 78 feet above the river. Local builders used the same limestone blocks and Ottoman construction techniques. For centuries, young men have performed a traditional dive from the bridge's apex. The old town features distinctive Turkish houses with wooden balconies, overhanging narrow streets. The city's architecture reflects its diverse heritage, with mosques and Catholic churches standing side by side. Many buildings still show bullet holes from the conflict, preserved as reminders of the war. Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, Uganda. A dense jungle on Uganda's southwestern edge harbors half of the world's mountain gorillas. The forest canopy rises to 90 feet, creating multiple layers of vegetation that filter sunlight. The term impenetrable refers to the thick ground cover and steep ridges that make human access challenging. Mountain gorillas live in family groups, led by a dominant silverback male. The park contains 400 gorillas, with several groups habituated to human presence for research and tourism. Despite its small size, the forest hosts 120 mammal species and 350 bird species, including 23 found nowhere else in East Africa. Local communities maintain traditional knowledge of medicinal plants found in the forest. Professional trackers locate gorilla groups daily, allowing small numbers of tourists to observe them for limited periods. Lijiang, China. Surrounded by snow-capped mountains, this ancient town preserves the traditions of the Nazca people. The old town's canals supply fresh mountain water through an intricate system of streams and bridges built during the Ming Dynasty. Traditional Nazca houses feature upturned eaves and carved wooden facades. The cobblestone streets follow an organized pattern that prevents flooding during rainy seasons. The Nazca maintain their unique Dongba pictographic writing system, one of the world's last hieroglyphic scripts still in use. Market squares feature traditional music performances using ancient instruments. The Black Dragon Pool offers iconic views of Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, reflected in its waters. Despite increasing tourism, many Nasi families continue living in their ancestral homes, maintaining centuries-old customs. Valletta, Malta. Built entirely within the 16th century, Europe's first planned city rises from Malta's rocky coast. Massive, honey-colored limestone walls, designed by the Knights of St. John, protect the peninsula from three sides. The grid pattern of streets was revolutionary for its time, allowing sea breezes to cool the city. St. John's Co-Cathedral appears austere outside, but contains an opulent interior with gold leaf and Caravaggio masterpieces. The city's fortifications include deep, dry moats and complex defense systems with underground tunnels. The Grand Harbor, one of the Mediterranean's deepest natural harbors, shaped the city's maritime history. During World War II, Valletta endured intense bombing, but its underground shelters saved many lives. Typical Maltese enclosed wooden balconies, called gallerias, add splashes of color to the limestone buildings. Sighișoara, Romania. Perched on a hilltop in Transylvania, this medieval citadel has preserved its 16th century form remarkably intact. The clock tower dominates the skyline, its mechanical figures marking the hours since 1648. Each of the original 9 towers was maintained by different craft guilds. The city's cobblestone streets wind past colorful burgher houses, many still inhabited by descendants of Saxon settlers. The Scholars' Stairs, a covered wooden staircase of 176 steps, protected students from winter weather as they climbed to the church on the hill. Vlad the Impaler, who inspired the Dracula legend, was born here in 1431. The upper town's location inside fortress walls helped preserve its medieval architecture through centuries of upheaval. Fujisan, Japan. Rising 12,388 feet above sea level, Mount Fuji's nearly perfect cone shape has inspired Japanese art and spirituality for centuries. The mountain, formed through layers of volcanic activity over 100,000 years, four distinct phases of eruption created its characteristic symmetrical slopes. The summit hosts 8 peaks around a crater 820 feet deep. Ancient pilgrimage routes still lead to the top, marked by traditional mountain huts. The snow-capped peak influenced countless artworks, most famously Hokusai's 36 views of Mount Fuji. The mountain's last eruption occurred in 1707, creating a new crater on its southeastern flank. Five lakes surrounding the base offer mirror-like reflections of the peak. The tree line ends at 8,200 feet, creating a stark contrast between forested lower slopes and bare volcanic rock above. Trogir, Croatia. The medieval town sits on a tiny island, connected to the mainland by bridges. Originally founded by Greek colonists, Trogir's architecture spans 2,300 years of continuous urban development. The town's centerpiece is the Cathedral of St. Lawrence, with its remarkable Romanesque portal, carved by Master Radovan in 1240. Venetian-era palaces display delicate Gothic windows and Renaissance courtyards. The Camerlengo Fortress guards the harbor, its towers offering views across terracotta roofs to the Adriatic. The town's street layout has remained unchanged since the Hellenistic period. Within the ancient walls, smooth limestone paving stones have been polished by centuries of footsteps. The loggia still serves its original function as a public gathering place. Maritime trade shaped the town's character. Carved stone anchors and ships decorate many building facades. Baalbek, Lebanon. Among Lebanon's Bekaa Valley stands the largest Roman temple ruins ever built. The Temple of Jupiter used stone blocks weighing up to 800 tons, some of the heaviest ever moved by human hands. Engineers still debate how ancient builders transported these massive stones. The Temple of Bacchus survives nearly intact, its 66-foot columns crowned with intricate Corinthian capitals. Built over 1,000 years, the site blends Phoenician foundations with Roman architectural genius. The Great Court covers 134,548 square feet, making it the largest religious building complex of the Roman Empire. Earlier civilizations built here for millennia. Archaeologists found remains dating back 9,000 years. The precision of stone cutting was so exact that many blocks fit together without mortar. The site's alignment allows the rising sun to illuminate the sanctuary on specific religious dates. Nazca Lines, Peru. Etched into Peru's desert floor, these enormous geoglyphs have puzzled scientists for decades. The designs include animals, plants, and geometric shapes, some stretching over 1,200 feet long. The ancient Nazca people created these lines by removing the dark surface rocks to expose lighter soil underneath. The extreme desert conditions, with minimal rain and wind, preserved these delicate drawings for over 2,000 years. The figures are so large, they can only be fully appreciated from the air, though the Nazca had no known means of flight. The designs include a hummingbird, monkey, spider, and hundreds of geometric shapes. Scientists discovered that some lines mark the rising and setting points of certain stars. Water management may have played a role. Some lines lead to underground water sources. Recent drone surveys continue to reveal new figures hidden in the desert. Taj Mahal, India. The ultimate monument to love rises above the banks of the Yamuna River in perfect symmetry. Emperor Shah Jahan built this marble masterpiece as a tomb for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, taking 22 years and 20,000 workers to complete. The main dome changes color throughout the day: pearly gray at dawn, soft pink in evening, and glowing white under the midday sun. Master craftsmen inlaid precious stones and intricate floral patterns using a technique called Petra dura. The four minarets lean slightly outward, designed to fall away from the main structure if they collapse. The gardens follow classic Mughal Charbagh design, 4 quadrants representing paradise. The entire complex aligns precisely with Mecca. Optical illusions make the building appear closer or farther, depending on viewing angle. The structure's perfect proportions derive from complex mathematical ratios used in Islamic architecture. Dubrovnik, Croatia. Encircled by massive stone walls that rise directly from the Adriatic Sea, this medieval city survives intact. The main street, Straden, paved with limestone blocks polished by centuries of footsteps, runs through the heart of the old town. The city's defensive system includes 2 harbors, multiple forts, and walls reaching 82 feet high in places. Steep stairs lead to the wall-top walkway, offering views across terracotta roofs to distant islands. The Franciscan monastery houses one of Europe's oldest functioning pharmacies, operating since 1317. During the 1991 siege, over 2,000 shells hit the old town, damaging 68% of buildings. But careful restoration preserved its medieval character. The piled gate still features its original wooden drawbridge. Ancient public fountains, built in the 15th century, remain connected to the city's historic water supply system from Mount Surge. Yellowstone National Park, USA. The world's first national park sits atop a massive supervolcano, creating Earth's largest concentration of geothermal features. Half of the world's geysers exist here, fed by underground magma chambers. Old Faithful erupts with clock-like precision, shooting boiling water up to 180 feet high. The Grand Prismatic Spring displays vivid colors created by heat-loving bacteria, orange and brown on the edges, brilliant blue in its 160-degree center. Yellowstone Lake fills an ancient volcanic caldera, making it North America's largest high-altitude lake. The park supports the largest concentration of mammals in the lower 48 states, including free-roaming bison herds descended from ancient populations. Travertine terraces at Mammoth Hot Springs grow several inches annually as hot water deposits minerals. The reintroduction of wolves in 1995 triggered a cascade of ecological changes, demonstrating the interconnectedness of the park's ecosystems. The ancient city of Ephesus, Turkey. Once the Mediterranean's principal port, Ephesus showcases some of the world's best-preserved Roman ruins. The Library of Celsus stands as the city's signature monument. Its two-story facade, decorated with copies of ancient wisdom goddesses. The Grand Theater could seat 25,000 spectators, its perfect acoustics still demonstrated today. Marble-paved streets show ancient chariot wheel ruts and feature sophisticated drainage systems that still function. The terrace houses of wealthy Romans contain intact frescoes and heated floor systems. Public latrines were social gathering spots with running water and marble seats. The Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, once stood here, though only a single column remains. The harbor that brought the city its wealth now lies 5 miles inland, filled with silt from the Cayster River. The Palace of Versailles, France. Originally a hunting lodge, Louis XIV transformed this site into Europe's most magnificent royal residence. The Hall of Mirrors stretches 240 feet. Its 357 mirrors reflecting light from 17 glass doors opposite them. The palace's strict symmetry embodies French classical style, with every architectural detail serving to glorify the Sun King. The gardens cover 2,000 acres of precisely manicured lawns, fountains, and tree-lined paths designed by André Lenotre. Each fountain tells a story from classical mythology through bronze and marble sculptures. The Queen's and King's private apartments display lavish decorations with precious wood paneling and painted ceilings. The Royal Chapel rises through 2 stories, its ceiling painted to represent the Holy Trinity. The palace witnessed key historical moments, including the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. Mount Athos Monasteries, Greece. Rising 6,670 feet from the Aegean Sea, this autonomous monastic state has preserved Byzantine traditions since the 9th century. "20 monasteries cling to the mountain slopes, connected by ancient footpaths and mule tracks. The architecture adapts to the extreme terrain. Buildings seem to grow from the cliffs themselves. Each monastery functions as a self-contained fortress, with high walls protecting precious religious artifacts and ancient manuscripts. The Great Lavra, the oldest monastery, established the architectural pattern others would follow. Monks still practice traditional crafts, including icon painting and manuscript copying. The community follows the Julian calendar, with days measured from sunset to sunset by Byzantine time. No females are allowed on the peninsula, a ban that extends even to female animals. Stonehenge, United Kingdom. Rising from England's Salisbury Plain, this prehistoric monument has puzzled scholars for centuries. The massive stone circle was built in several stages between 3000 and 2000 BC, starting with a circular bank and ditch. The largest stones, called sarsens, weigh up to 25 tons and stand 24 feet high. Smaller blue stones were transported 150 miles from Wales, though archaeologists debate how Neolithic builders moved them. The stones align precisely with the summer solstice sunrise and winter solstice sunset. Builders used sophisticated joinery techniques. The horizontal lintels connect to the upright stones using mortise and tenon joints. Around the main circle, archaeologists discovered hundreds of burial mounds. Recent surveys revealed a hidden landscape of ceremonial structures beneath the surrounding fields. The ancient city of Polonnaruwa, Sri Lanka. This medieval capital showcases the grandeur of Sri Lankan architecture from the 11th century. The city spreads across an artificial lake, Parakrama Samudra, built to store water for the dry season. The Galvihara features 4 massive Buddha statues carved from a single granite rock face, including a 46-foot reclining Buddha. The Vattadagiai, a circular relic house, demonstrates perfect symmetry with its 4 Buddha statues facing cardinal directions. The 7-story Rangkat Vihara remains Sri Lanka's largest dagoba from this period. Ancient hydraulic systems still function, channeling water through sophisticated filters and cooling systems. The Polonnaruwa Council Chamber features stone lions and a perfectly preserved moonstone entrance. Colonies of macaque monkeys now inhabit the ruins, descendants of those depicted in ancient carvings. Chichen Itza, Mexico. Dominating Mexico's Yucatan jungle, this Mayan metropolis demonstrates remarkable astronomical knowledge. The main pyramid, El Castillo, serves as a massive calendar. Its 365 steps match the solar year, while corners align with solstices and equinoxes. During spring and autumn equinoxes, sunlight creates a serpent pattern descending the pyramid stairs. The Great Ball Court, the largest in ancient America, spans 554 feet, with walls rising 27 feet high. Players aimed a rubber ball through stone hoops mounted high on the walls. The observatory, El Caracol, tracks Venus's movement with remarkable precision. The acoustics of the site reveal sophisticated engineering. A clap at the base of El Castillo produces an echo mimicking the sacred Quetzal bird's call. The Temple of Luxor, Egypt. Ancient Egypt's most complete temple complex stretches for nearly 2 miles along the Nile River. The entrance, once guarded by 6 colossal statues of Ramses II, connects to Karnak Temple via an avenue of sphinxes. The temple walls tell stories through detailed hieroglyphics and reliefs, their colors still visible in protected areas. Built primarily by Amenhotep III and Ramses II, each pharaoh added new sections, creating layers of architectural history. The temple's orientation aligns with the winter solstice, when sunlight illuminates the temple's inner sanctuary. During the annual Opet festival, statues of gods traveled by boat from Karnak to Luxor. The temple survived later periods by being partially converted into a Christian church, then a mosque which still functions today. Okavango Delta, Botswana. Annual floods transform this corner of the Kalahari Desert into Africa's largest oasis. The delta spreads across 5,800 square miles when the Okavango River's waters arrive from Angola's highlands. Crystal-clear channels weave between thousands of islands, created by termites building mounds that gradually connect vegetation. Palm trees mark these islands, providing sanctuary for wildlife during flood seasons. The water arrives during Botswana's dry winter, creating a unique ecosystem where desert and wetland species coexist. Hippos maintain the waterways by creating channels through the reeds. The flooding pattern supports over 2,000 plant species and 500 bird species. Large predators like lions have adapted to swimming between islands in search of prey. Great Wall of China. Stretching over 13,000 miles, this ancient fortification winds across China's northern borders. Construction spanned multiple dynasties, over 2,000 years, with the most famous sections built during the Ming Dynasty. The wall adapts to the terrain, climbing mountain ridges, crossing deserts, and descending into valleys. Watchtowers placed at regular intervals served as garrison stations, signal platforms, and storage facilities. The wall's height ranges from 15 to 50 feet, wide enough for 5 horses to gallop side by side along its top. Builders used materials available locally: stone and rammed earth in the west, fired bricks in the east. The mortar contains sticky rice, making it remarkably strong and durable. Beacon towers communicated through smoke signals during day and fire at night, allowing messages to travel 500 miles in just a few hours. Timgad, Algeria. Rising from Algeria's high plains, this perfectly preserved Roman city demonstrates advanced urban planning from 2,000 years ago. The layout follows a strict grid pattern, with streets intersecting at right angles, like a massive chessboard. The Arch of Trajan marks the city's heart, where two main streets meet at precise 90-degree angles. Public buildings include a 3,500-seat theater carved into a hillside and a massive library that held 23,000 scrolls. The Forum features a detailed political slogan carved in stone: hunting, bathing, playing, laughing. That is living. Elaborate public baths still show sophisticated heating systems running under marble floors. The city's water supply came through a complex network of aqueducts and underground pipes. Desert sands preserved the ruins after abandonment, protecting intricate mosaics and stone paving. Salamanca, Spain. Built from distinctive golden sandstone, this ancient university city glows at sunset, earning its nickname La Dorada, the Golden City. The university, founded in 1218, features an ornate facade where tradition challenges students to find a hidden frog among the carvings. Two cathedrals stand side by side: the old cathedral in Romanesque style and the new cathedral showcasing Gothic and Baroque elements. The Plaza Mayor ranks among Spain's finest squares, its 88 arches decorated with medallions of Spanish monarchs and notable figures. Local stonemasons carved mysterious astronaut and dragon figures into the new cathedral during restoration, creating a playful blend of ancient and modern. Bruges, Belgium. Rising from a network of canals, this medieval trading center preserves its 13th century urban layout, almost intact. The Belfry Tower soars 272 feet, its 47 bells still marking time as they have for centuries. Swans glide through the canals, descended from birds kept by royal decree since 1488. The Basilica of the Holy Blood claims to house a vial of Christ's blood brought from Jerusalem during the Crusades. Medieval merchants built elegant mansions along the canals, their stepped gable roofs creating the city's distinctive skyline. The market square features buildings from 4 centuries, including the provincial court with its Gothic tracery. The Bagainov, a peaceful complex once housing religious women, still maintains its original whitewashed houses around a central green. The temples of Angkor, Cambodia. Rising from the jungle, this vast complex served as capital of the Khmer Empire for over 600 years. Angkor Wat, the largest religious monument ever built, aligns perfectly with the solar calendar. The temple's 5 towers represent Mount Meru, home of Hindu gods. Ta Prohm remains as it was discovered, with massive tree roots embracing the ancient stones. The Bayon Temple features 216 massive stone faces, gazing in all directions, carved to resemble the ruler, Jayavarman VII. An intricate system of canals and reservoirs managed seasonal monsoon floods, supporting a city of 1 million people. The temples use a precise sacred geometry. Angkor Wat's measurements correspond to mathematical values from Hindu astronomy. Bas-reliefs stretching for half a mile depict historical events and mythological scenes. Recent radar surveys revealed an entire hidden city beneath the forest floor, with elaborate water management systems. Tower of London, United Kingdom. Standing guard over the Thames since 1066, this fortress evolved from a wooden stronghold into a symbol of royal power. The White Tower, built by William the Conqueror, features walls 15 feet thick, and the first spiral staircase built in England. Ravens live within the grounds by royal decree. Legend says the kingdom will fall if they ever leave. The crown jewels, including the 530-carat Great Star of Africa diamond, rest secured behind massive vault doors. Medieval kings added concentric walls and towers, creating the most advanced fortification of its time. The Bloody Tower gained its name from numerous political prisoners who met their fate here, including 2 young princes who mysteriously disappeared. Pyramids of Giza, Egypt. Standing on the edge of Cairo's sprawl, these massive monuments have endured for 4,500 years. The Great Pyramid of Khufu used 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing up to 80 tons. The pyramid's base covers 13 acres, with sides aligned precisely to the cardinal points. Modern builders still debate how ancient Egyptians achieved such precision without advanced tools. The Sphinx, carved from a single limestone outcrop, guards the pyramid complex with the face of a pharaoh and the body of a lion. Air shafts in the Great Pyramid point to specific stars, suggesting sophisticated astronomical knowledge. Each pyramid had a complex of temples and smaller pyramids for queens. Workers' villages revealed a highly organized society capable of sustaining massive construction projects. Acropolis of Athens, Greece. The ancient citadel rises 490 feet above Athens, crowned by the Parthenon's perfect proportions. Built during Athens' golden age under Pericles, the temple complex demonstrates unprecedented architectural precision. The Parthenon's columns incorporate subtle curves to counteract optical illusions. They bend slightly inward to appear straight from below. Built entirely of Pentelic marble, the structures once featured vivid painted decorations. The Propylaea, a monumental gateway, guides visitors through a carefully planned sequence of spaces. The Temple of Athena, Nike, perched on a bastion, celebrates Athens' military victories. The Erechtheion features the famous caryatid porch, where 6 marble maidens serve as supporting columns. The entire complex aligns with the rising sun during the summer solstice. Hidden metal clamps reinforced marble blocks, using lead to prevent rust expansion. Despite centuries of damage from wars, pollution, and improper restoration, the monuments maintain their commanding presence over modern Athens. Statue of Liberty, United States. Rising 305 feet from Liberty Island, this copper colossus has welcomed immigrants to New York Harbor since 1886. The statue changes color from bright copper to today's green patina, caused by natural oxidation over decades. French sculptor Frédéric Bartholdi designed the face based on his mother, while Gustave Eiffel engineered the internal steel framework. The crown's 7 spikes represent the world's 7 continents and seas. The tablet in Liberty's left hand measures 23 feet tall, inscribed with America's independence date in Roman numerals. The broken chains at her feet symbolize freedom from oppression. Her torch-bearing arm alone weighs 46 tons. The copper skin is only as thick as 2 pennies pressed together, shaped by a technique called repoussé. Inside, a double helix staircase leads to the crown. Its design, inspiring the structure of DNA molecules. The ancient city of Carthage, Tunisia. Founded by Phoenician traders, this maritime power once rivaled Rome for control of the Mediterranean. The ancient harbor features 2 distinct ports, a rectangular commercial harbor and a circular military port that could shelter 220 warships. Engineers designed the military harbor with a central island command post overlooking the entire facility. The Antonine Baths, among the largest outside Rome, showcase sophisticated heating and water systems. Massive cisterns stored water brought by aqueduct from the Atlas Mountains. The Birsa Hill, once the city's fortified heart, still contains Punic-era foundations beneath Roman buildings. Archaeological layers reveal 3 distinct cities: Punic, Roman, and Byzantine Carthage. The Tophet, a controversial religious site, contains thousands of urns with cremated remains. After Rome's destruction of Punic Carthage in 146 BC, the city was rebuilt on a precise Roman grid system. Meteora, Greece. Sharp pinnacles of rock pierce the sky above central Greece, crowned with medieval monasteries. These natural sandstone towers formed 60 million years ago, when a prehistoric sea basin eroded. Monks began settling in cliff caves during the 11th century, but the first monastery appeared in the 14th century. Originally, supplies and people reached the monasteries only by retractable ladders and rope nets. Of 24 original monasteries, 6 remain active today, perched up to 1,200 feet above the valley floor. Builders hauled construction materials up the cliffs, using an ingenious system of pulleys and baskets. Inside, the monasteries preserve precious Byzantine frescoes and religious artifacts. The rock formations create a unique microclimate, supporting rare bird species and plants. Each monastery developed its own water collection system, gathering rainfall in carved cisterns. Machu Picchu, Peru. Located between mountain peaks, at 7,972 feet, this Incan citadel remained hidden from the outside world until 1911. The city's 150 buildings demonstrate extraordinary stonework. Blocks fit so precisely that not even a knife blade can fit between them. The site aligns perfectly with astronomical events, including the summer and winter solstices. The agricultural terraces prevented erosion and created microclimates for growing different crops. An elaborate water management system channeled spring water through stone fountains, serving both practical and ceremonial purposes. The Intihuatana stone works as a solar calendar, casting no shadow at noon during equinoxes. Engineers built flexible stone foundations that have withstood centuries of earthquakes. The site divides into urban and agricultural sectors, with a central plaza separating sacred and residential zones. Without the use of wheels, iron tools, or mortar, Incan builders created a city that has survived 5 centuries of mountain weather. I'd love to know which UNESCO World Heritage Site sparked your interest the most. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm always excited to hear which places stand out to you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss out on more incredible journeys. Thanks for exploring all these amazing places with me. Until next time, safe travels.